If you're looking to get paid to speak or have high level people bring you in to talk about a subject and you don't have a lot of experience doing it, I'm going to show you how to not do what I just did. If you're trying to get people to pay you to speak at events or bring you in as an expert, then in this video, I'm going to show you how to unlock that superpower in a few easy steps. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan, and I have been speaking to people for over 10 years in sales, marketing, on the stage, in conference rooms, etc. And there's a ton of stuff that I learned because I did not used to be this smooth, believe it or not. So number one thing that you have to do is you have to know the subject that you're talking about, and you have to get comfortable talking about it. So me as a kid did not want to talk to people. I was shy. I was introverted up until high school. And I always tell a story. Once high school came and I was like, ooh, girls, then I started becoming more outgoing. But even still, like at the end of the day, I'm not somebody that's like, oh, I need to go be around a bunch of people and talk. In those situations, I'm a chameleon and I adapt to it. But really, I would just rather be at home by myself or with my family in silence or watching a movie than going out and engaging with people. How I got there is very simple. First, I got into sales. And in sales, you have to talk to people. It's just the nature of the beast. In order to be great at sales, you have to talk to a lot of people. You have to get rejected a lot of times. But as I was going through it, I learned certain things that I was good at. And the more repetition that you have to something, just think about anything that you know really well. It could be how to ride a bike, how to do a hobby, how to make videos, anything like that that you're good at, how to throw a football. If you had to explain that to a group of people, then it would come off very natural and easy to you, and you wouldn't be overthinking it. And I feel like the mind gets in the way of people where they're like, start stuttering, get nervous, start sweating, etc. I mean, I don't get nervous really in any situation at this point. The biggest group that I spoke to is just under 1,000 people at a conference. And initially I was more nervous of like, what happens if I talk and the microphone doesn't work? And then I'm like, oh, I can't hear myself because the speakers are facing that way. And I don't know that nobody else can hear me. It's more of like the embarrassment factor that I was more concerned about than can I deliver valuable content to this group? So if you go back to it and say, think of something simple that you know very well, and I want to explain that to people. You can do it easily. So whatever your subject is, you have to know every different aspect of it. And the more conversations that you have with people, the easier it's going to be for you to continue to expand the audience group that you're going after and go from one person to 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 because you're so confident, right? So confidence is going to breed that success in you to be able to speak intelligently. Just like when we're shooting these videos, I come with no notes because I've said these things over and over and over again. I've been doing this for so long that I don't need things in front of me to keep me on track, with the exception of a video person saying, hey, that one was a little bit off track. Let's reel it back in. But you start with practicing on something that you know very well. Explain it to your friends, explain it to the neighbors, explain it to kids, explain it to coworkers. The more chances that you get at talking to people, the more confidence you're going to have. Number two, you actually have to produce a lot of content. If you're looking to get booked at an event, if you're looking to have somebody pay you to come in, it could be somebody in a small group where you do IT consulting and you want a company to bring you in and train their team for 4 hours, or come in and teach them about something for 2 hours. You have to have experience doing that. You have to have content of you doing it to build the trust to get them to pay you to do it. The more times that you've done it is going to build your confidence. You need to document that confidence and document those examples and build it out and say, this is what I can come in and do. Here's some examples of me doing it. Because you think about the people that are trying to hire somebody like you to come in and speak, they're nervous about, can you deliver? They've got 500 people in the audience or 100 people in the audience. They're going to say, show me something that you've done before. If you don't have that, they're not going to believe you. And believe it or not, YouTube videos is not a great example of that. It has to show you actually doing it in live, in public, or just off the top of your head. They're going to go through some sort of interview process of understanding how you are as a person, what's your vibe like, what's your energy, what are you going to deliver, what are you going to teach them. They're going to probably want referrals or things like that. But if you have a YouTube channel, which you can do at home in the comfort of your own home, or office, you can say, I'm going to produce videos. It's just me and the camera over and over and over again, hundreds of videos. And that can show that you get more comfortable on the camera. And then when you talk to them, you're going to show that same comfort level. But they will not hire you if they don't think that you're going to be successful in whatever it is that they're trying to do. Whatever subject they're trying to bring you in to talk about, they have to make sure that you're going to provide value to the audience and that you're going to hit the nail on the head. So that way the audience says, you know what? I learned something from that speaker. The best way to do it is to master the subject as deep as possible. All right, so the first time that I got into a big audience, now keep in mind, I had experience from a sales standpoint, presenting things to small groups of people, 2 people, up to 5, 6, 8, 10 people at bigger companies. So I'm at this conference, and part of the conference, you can sponsor different aspects of it, the lunch, the breakfast, the dinner, etc. But one thing that nobody booked was introducing the main speaker of the event. And the main speaker of this event had a show on Discovery Channel where he went and lived with different cultures for a week, fully embraced it, documented the whole thing, and it was a pretty decent show on Discovery Channel. I forget what it was called. And so it was like $1,500 or $2,000 for me to introduce him. And with that, I was able to talk on stage for 2 to 3 minutes. So they said, we're just going to have you come in. There's a very specific introduction that the person wants. There's going to be a teleprompter for it. And I was like, I don't need a teleprompter. I'll remember it. I met the guy ahead of time. He was like, dude, I love you. And he was younger like me. So we vibed well together. He gave me the confidence to get up there. And so they said, you have 2 to 3 minutes. So I got onto stage, and that was nervous for me for the first time because I'm backstage. There's, I think, 500, 600, 700 people there roughly, all within the industry that I was serving. And they were like, okay, when you come out, walk out to this point, and then you can talk, but then look at this timer. And once you get close to this, you need to introduce it, but try and make it sound natural. First time I had ever done that before. And I was like, I'm going to make the most of it. So what I want to try and do, I'm going to go in with some sort of quick game plan. Number one, I'm going to try and make them laugh in some aspect because everybody remembers those that make them laugh. Number two, I wanted to get people after that speaker was done to go out into the lobby to my table to see the drone that I was giving away in a raffle and have a conversation with me. So I did exactly that. I went on stage. I forget the joke that I told, but I told a couple jokes about the audience, got everybody to laugh, talked a little bit about what I did very quickly. I'm talking like 30 seconds. Then went into, if you guys want to buy a drone, I don't know, like you guys are all nerds here. You're all engineers. I know that you guys would love a drone. If you want to get your chance at it, you got to stop by my table right outside the room. Let's have a quick conversation. Put your business card in the raffle drawing, and I'm going to give it away tomorrow. When I left that, after the guy was done talking for about 45 minutes, when I left it, I had like 20, 30 people outside my table being like, dude, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know you did those things. It's awesome that you're from within the industry. I actually need help with what it is that you guys do. Let's have a conversation. I ended up getting like 5 or 6 leads from that to then become customers. I think maybe I closed one of them, but I was making the most out of the situation. Now I had to pay to get there. Nobody else in the group wanted to go on stage and introduce this somewhat famous or popular speaker. And I was like, that's a perfect opportunity. So was I nervous? 100%. But once you conquer that, it's like, okay, I'm going to go talk to 100 people. That's no big deal. Even this past September, I went to an event. They invited me to come in to do 2 things. 1, talk for 45 minutes. And 2, the day before, they wanted to do a 3-hour workshop on marketing. So I was like, I could do both of those things, and I'd love to do both. The workshop, small group, it was like 10, 12 people, but for 3 hours. And I'm not a big planner, so I put together some slides and did it. But it was just basically like, I like having conversations with people in those settings. Now, the next day, I asked them how many people are going to be there. And they said, oh, it should fill up pretty decent, like maybe 50, 60 people. So I go in there 5 minutes before, and I was nervous because there's only like 20 people there, not realizing that these guys, all these executives and VPs and CEOs come in like super last minute. By the time I started, the room was full. Within 5 minutes, there was 10 people at the back of the room. I knew how many chairs there were, so there were about 98 people in that room within 5 minutes of it starting, and I was going for 45 minutes. The way that I built my confidence and the way that I made sure that I didn't feel awkward or out of place was I have to engage the audience. I have to ask them questions. I have to get them to not just sit there. Because when you're standing up there and you're looking in that situation, at a room of people that the lights aren't low and you're on the spotlight, all the lights are the same level, so you can see everybody's faces, you can see everybody's eyes. I needed to get them to engage, and that's exactly what I did. So I knew that going into it, engagement was going to be key, so I went in with that game plan. But I would have never gotten that opportunity from that company, that big organization, to invite me to come speak at that event of 300-400 people total, if they hadn't seen my activity on LinkedIn, if they hadn't seen my stuff on social, all the videos on YouTube, the multiple years of me talking about the same subject. They wanted somebody with that expertise in that subject for that industry to come in and provide value. And that's exactly what I did. But you have to start with, I think the best way is videos on YouTube, push them out to social. Now, Here's the kicker. You will not become more comfortable. You will not get people to pay you if you do not get some sort of validation that what you're doing is working. So you need the audience or people on social to comment and say that they got value out of this, that you taught them something, that you helped them out in some way. Because I can attest that if you don't get that, you're not going to have the drive or the motivation to continue to make content over and over again. I probably made, I don't even know, 20, 30 videos before I got somebody come back and say, dude, that was awesome. As soon as that happened, I knew I was hooked. Not from like a dopamine drip standpoint, like, ooh, I get pleasure from making people happy and having them validate that I did something good, but it's more, I help somebody, and that's what I like doing, whether it's help them make more money, help them with their career, personal life, whatever. So I help them in their situation. So I make more videos, and then more comments came, and then people were messaging me, and so on and so forth. Now that I've been doing it for probably 8 years now, just videos all the time, I just know that I'm going to produce some value for somebody, and that's my main mission. So if you want to go from not being known to being known, it again comes down to repetition, just like anything. You have to start small, work your way up. You have to be able to speak intelligently to it. Don't be nervous. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody's judging you. Nobody cares the quality of the video that you're shooting or how your backdrop is. Just they care about the value of the content, and continue to produce it over and over and over again to get those repetitions. Then you need to build some sort of reel, do some things for free. Everybody's looking for speakers and experts in certain situations. So say, hey, I'll come out to you for free if you let me just talk to the audience. I've done that probably 6 to 12 times. I found an event and said, hey, are you looking for any speakers? Actually, we are. Okay, cool. I'm going to be in the area. I wasn't, but I said, I'm going to be in the area. Can I come and speak? I'm not going to charge you anything for it. I just want to be able to get in front of your audience to speak, to eventually sell them or try and get somebody into my pipeline. That's exactly what happens. So start again with the free stuff, start with the repetition on videos, on YouTube, build up your presence, and then people will start begging for you to come to their events. So when it comes to delivering the content, the biggest mistake people can make is the slides or whatever the content is that they produce, all of the information is up on the screen and you're basically just reading from the screen. Nobody wants to be taught or talked to like that. If you're going to say what's on the screen, just give me a copy of the presentation and I'll read it myself. So I always try and keep it very minimal to where it's more like a keynote presentation where I'll put like 5 words up there or an image. I've been like that since I was in sales and giving presentations to people. I would rather have their eyes and their attention on me instead of the screen. So even when I was just doing this 3-4 months ago, 98 people in the room, 2 big TV screens that are filling up the entire wall. The walls are 20 feet tall. And I could put a lot of relevant information on there, but then they're just going to be looking up instead of looking at me and what I'm talking about. I'm going to lose that engagement. I'm going to lose their attention. So what I did was I put a small amount of information up there and I'd ask people, does anybody know what that graph means? Is that good or bad? Get them to engage back. Okay, let's talk about what that graph means. Let's talk about how we're going to impact that. By show of hands, tell me how many people do X, Y, and Z and get their hands to raise. But you got to get that engagement with the audience, depending on what type of subject that you're speaking about. But I feel like any subject, you can engage the audience if you get creative. Ask them questions, ask them to raise their hand, ask them to validate what you have on there. Do you believe that that statement is true? Just nod your head yes or no, or raise your hand if you guys all agree with it, or give me a verbal back, yes, I agree, or no, I don't. Let's see what the audience is like. You want to try and get that engagement. That's going to drive you to go further, deeper conversations. People are going to like it more. They're going to feel like they got some value from it. And that is how you're going to get booked to speak time and time again, is providing value to that audience and them to be able to say to the event people, you know what, I really like that speaker, and then you're on a roll. So hopefully that gave you guys some value with this content, talking about how to get into speaking, become more familiar or comfortable with public speaking. If you did get value out of it, share it with somebody that you know. Subscribe to YouTube, turn on notifications. If you want to reach out to me on social media, hit me up on LinkedIn. Let's connect and have a conversation, and I'll see you on the next one.